Welcome everyone to the only live webcast that brings you the passion, the power and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Real and Hammer Live, the official webcast of Warrior Nation, who are the official Aussie-based Warriors supporters movement. I'm your host, Hammer. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my co-host and fellow Warriors tragic, Warrior Roo. Robbie, how have you been, mate? I believe you've had a bit of some monkeyism happening up there in Queensland this week.
Yeah, good. I'm doing well, thanks, mate. Yeah, as school holidays still up here. This is the third week for my kids. They got 3 weeks holidays. This is the third and final week. We went out to Wildlife HQ, which is out near the big pineapple in Nambour on the Sunshine Coast. And my son has just been absolutely desperate to go there because he loves monkeys. And the only other zoo up here is Australia Zoo, obviously the Steve Irwin famous zoo, also on the Sunshine Coast, a bit further south than Nambour. But they only got lemurs there. And he's like, oh, lemurs are not quite monkey enough for him, if you know what I mean. He loves your classic monkey. So we thought we'd check out Wildlife HQ because they had about 12, 15 different types of monkeys. And mate, we weren't disappointed. They got it. They got the like gibbons, the marmosets, unfortunately they don't have your classic chimpanzees and your gorillas, but they got all the others. So he was in absolute monkey heaven there. It was a good day out. The old big pineapple hadn't been there since the 80s. So that was great. It's great for the kids and good school holiday activity. So yeah. How about yourself, mate? How's your week been?
Week's been okay, mate. We've excuse me. We've had a little bit of some unfortunate shit happening at work this week, and aside from that, mate, everything's going well. Just let Cody know that next time he comes to Sydney, Uncle Hammer will take him to Taronga Zoo.
I said that. Taronga Zoo have chimps, don't they?
Gorillas. Yep.
They got the big two. Yeah. He loves chimpanzee, and I was like, unfortunately, no. The Darling Downs Zoo might happen, but yeah, sort of around the greater Brisbane area. Yeah, so we're definitely going to go to Taronga Zoo. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, mate. Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, we got them all.
Orangutans as well. Oh, that's the big three. Yeah. Chimps, gorillas, orangutans. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, but just been a usual week down here. Still a bit cold and windy in Sydney. Mate, I'm connected via Ethernet tonight, so I've kind of dispelled with the always doing it on the iPad. It's not been working, and so hoping that I've fixed up any lagging and internet issues that I've had in the past. And special shout out to Mitch, who jumped on my computer last night that I hadn't used since we moved into this place 6 months ago, and mate, the amount of stuff that was running in the background that I had no idea on, and couldn't work out why everything was so slow, but everything seems to be good at the moment, mate. So,
contrary to popular belief, we are not technical geniuses. I know some of you guys may find that hard to believe, but absolutely. There's actually a lot of stuff that we just don't know.
Yeah, there is. But let's crack on with the show, mate. As I said in the opener, Real and Hammer are the official webcast of Warrior Nation. And we're going live on our Real and Hammer Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and also on the Warrior Nation Facebook page with the blessing of the Warrior Nation godfather, Richie Morgan. So thank you to him. A huge shout out to Richie tonight. He has had his auntie pass away, so he's headed back to New Zealand for that. So just wanted to send him our thoughts and our well wishes to him and his family. On tonight's show. Nothing ever goes as planned, does it, mate?
It certainly doesn't. No.
Okay, so on tonight's show, sorry, mate, you want to say?
Oh, no, you go ahead. Yep.
Okay. On tonight's show, we'll look at the return of the Wahine Toa, our women's Warriors, after 5 seasons in the wilderness. We'll look at all the results from the NRL Round 18 and NRLW Round 1. We will preview the second instalment of the Mike Doreen Cup for 2025. Yes. Where we play the Tigers this weekend, and also our Warrior women who play the Eels. We are supposed to have a special guest on tonight, the great Steve Price, Warrior 121. He is travelling through Queensland country areas at the moment.
Queensland. Yeah.
So he will jump on whenever he has the connection to be able to do so. But in the meantime, mate, we'll just crack on with a bit of chat, Warriors chat. As I said, I'll just quickly round out the NRLW. We didn't have a NRLW game last week. The Warriors men had the bye, and that couldn't have come at a better time after a couple of losses and some significant injuries. But the women did return to the fray in the NRLW after 5 long years in the wilderness. Unfortunately, going down to the Red Hot Roosters 30-6 in their season opener. I don't think the score of this game really gave an indication of the effort the girls put in. We had, they talk about new sides coming in. We had obviously 17 players that hadn't played together. These girls had no trial form. So all the other NRLW sides actually had a trial before round 1. Our girls had no trial because no one wanted to travel to New Zealand to play us. We had 10 players making their NRLW and club debut. We had a further 6 making just their club debuts. Arpy Nichols was the only former Warrior that took the field, returning to the club. Warrior number 2, returning to the club for the first time in 5 years. But all these girls that took the field, mate, all 17 of these girls are now forever and always Wahine Toa, Warriors NRLW players. It was a tough hit out, as I said, against the reigning premiers. I'm not making excuses, but as I said, the Wars had no trials, so it was always going to be a tough ask. But I did see enough potential to know that we will be better and more competitive as the season rolls on. I think if we had played probably the Tigers or the Titans or possibly even the Raiders, we may have jagged a win in this game. We did show some great resilience in our defence to defend multiple sets on our line. I thought our attack shape looked good. We got over the line a couple of times, but we were unable to convert those opportunities into points. But at the end of the day, you're playing the reigning premiers, and as I said, they're a red hot side. It's a massive ask. I really think the NRL missed the mark with this round. A new team coming into the comp would have been great for them to have a standalone game in New Zealand to welcome these girls back into the comp. Wasn't to be, but they get to play their first home game this weekend, which I'm sure everyone in New Zealand is very excited about. But
for sure, yeah,
absolutely. We only had 45% possession in the game, mate. 63% completion rate. These are things that Coach Rod Griffiths will, want to improve on a week-to-week basis. But yeah, it was a very tough ask for our women. But as a proud Warriors supporter, it was just great to see that Warriors jersey back in that NRLW competition.
Yeah, it was. Hopefully, just everyone's patient. Everyone shows a little bit of patience. There's some girls there have never even played rugby league before as well, coming into that side. So, yeah, and as you said, the first hit out of the year, so it can only get better. And we'll see how the season unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. We had it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It was good to see the ladies hit the field again. Tough game, but it was their first hit out. I agree, Ted Clark. Absolutely. Mate, similar to the men this year, we're going to do players for the a 3-2-1 for the girls. Going to do it a little bit differently because I know with your family commitments and that, mate, you might not be able to catch every women's game that we play this year. So we're just going to do a standard 3-2-1 where you and I will converse and work out who our 3-2-1s are. They are our 3-2-1s. Still will be brought to you by Vital Man. Vital Man Natural Australian Supplements for Men. Vital Man take the lead. We haven't worked out who our 3-2-1 points are going to be named after. We'll have to have a bit of a brainstorm about that. But this week we gave our 3 points to one of our rugby converts, Taisha Ikanasio, in the centres. I thought she was absolutely outstanding, looked dangerous with every touch. Patricia Maliepo, our 5'8", looked really, really good. Didn't look out of place in playing in the NRLW. She got 2 points. And returning captain Arpy Nichols, I thought was outstanding at the back and really led the side well. And I gave her We gave her 1 point in this week's game. I think everyone was really excited to see how Michaela Brake would go, the Sevens rugby star. Little bit of an indifferent game for Michaela. Looked a little bit lost at times, and I know that she'll just get better as the season goes on. And I still think that even after the weekend with a player like Indy Bostock getting a couple of tries for the Dragons and so forth, my pick is still that Michaela Brake will have a breakout season and become the NRLW's top try scorer for the year. But we wait and see.
Yeah.
As I said, no Warriors NRL game this weekend. We did have one Pathways game where our flag beat the Silktails 40-18. Our cup had a bye, so New South Wales Cup are pretty much locked in the first position. Our flag, I think, have now climbed into the top 8, but I think the flag is a top 6. So I'm not real sure on whether it's a 6 or an 8, but yeah, that's where we're at with them. And mate, you just need to let me know once Pricey.
I'm keeping an eye on it. Yeah, for those of you who tuned in and expecting to see him, as we mentioned before, Pricey is travelling through outback Queensland. He's got a bit of a role with the QRL at the moment, so we're hoping to get him on as soon as we can. And when he joins the feed, we'll add him straight in. We'll have a bit of a chat with him. So
absolutely.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Let's recap NRL round 18, and then we'll recap the NRLW. Mate, Friday last week, there was just the one game, the Bulldogs versus the Broncos at Accor Stadium. That was the Broncos 22 over the Bulldogs 18. Mate, Dogs led 16-0 at half-time, and then jumped out to an 18-0 lead before they were run down. And that's, interestingly, the Broncos are now 2-0 against the Dogs this season. What did you make of the outcome of this game, mate?
Yeah. Well, the old cliche, the game of two halves. The Bulldogs were in cruise control, and early in that second half, I think they had a lot of possession as well and couldn't quite get that knockout blow. The Broncos stayed in the game. I would say the baby Broncos, but there was a lot of really good experienced players still in that side, and they had enough to absolutely come home with a wet sail and finish over the top of the Dogs. I mean, they grew in confidence when they repeatedly repelled Bulldogs, who once Galvin came on, probably didn't take the best option at times in attack, and it seemed to derail them a little bit. And the Broncos just came back, like their outside backs started making a lot of meters and were terrorising Karapani, and Deloise Hoito was playing like his first game in like 3 years or something like that as well. Bit of a forgotten man, had a good game. And then Billy Walters in his 100th NRL game came on and really sort of turned the tide as well around the ruck and scored a try himself, and then put over I've completely forgotten his name, the second rower that he put him over for
Pierre Cora.
Pierre Cora, that's him. Sorry about that. Pierre Cora put him over for the match winner, but they celebrated like they had won the comp at the end of that, because they realised what a big win that was, and also I think because the Bulldogs crowd was absolutely giving it to them, in particular Ezra Mam. So they carried on like pork chops after winning that. I think it was more in retaliation of the Bulldogs crowd, but boy oh boy, that's a bit of a statement win, I think, for the Broncos.
It's an interesting one too. You mentioned what's his name, Lockie Galvin.
Yep.
They shifted Matt Burton from 5'8" to the centres.
Weird one, eh?
To accommodate Galvin, and now this week it's just Burton back to 5'8", Galvin back to the bench. I don't think Cam Serraldo knows how to get the best out of Galvin and how he's going to play him. Because for me, now they've got Reid Marnie moving on at the end of the year. He's going to the Cowboys. You've got Toby Sexton moving on. He's going to Catalan Dragons.
Yeah.
If Lachlan's your long-term 7, because Burton's definitely your long-term 6, then don't you just bite the bullet now and put Galvin in at 7? Preston's not going to be there. Sexton's not there past this season. They've got Bailey Howard that they can keep on the bench. I really don't know. I think this signing mid-season is could derail the Bulldogs.
Well, they're putting all their eggs in the Galvin basket. They're moving on Sexton, like you said. They're moving on Sexton. They're now moving on Reid Marnie. And so if he is the man, and they seem pretty confident that he is their man, then yeah, why not just get into it now? Or do they not have full confidence in him and have and that's why they're sort of trying to get the best of both worlds there, keeping Sexton there. I mean, Sexton's the guy who's done the job all season. So it's a really weird situation. And I think they may well look back at it and go, we probably really didn't need to do that this year. We probably should have waited till the end of the season and then made these moves. But I don't know, Gus is a little bit more experienced than me, so maybe he knows what he's doing a bit more, but No.
Saturday, mate, the Raiders 28 over the Dragons 24 at GIO Stadium. Raiders continue their winning ways, 7 wins in a row now. They haven't done that since 2016. Dragons, they stayed in the contest, though, but the difference was KO Weeks with a hat-trick for the Raiders. Wasn't he absolutely outstanding, wasn't he?
Oh, so fast, elusive, and he's killing it at the back for them at the moment. Such a weapon, hat-trick of tries. Although they didn't have it all their own way, the Raiders, the Dragons put up a pretty good fight, and they were in it right till the end. But the Raiders just know how to win games, and they kept on doing that. Kept on doing what they've been doing all year. They're going to be hard to topple for the minor premiership, especially considering their run home.
Yeah, they've got 2 buys. They've still got 2 buys.
Still got 2 buys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they're 2 points clear at the top, and you throw that 4 points in from their buys. They've got a buy this week and then a buy in a couple of weeks. That's a massive run home for them. And as he said, they'll be very hard to beat for that minor premiership and a home semi-final in Canberra in September. That's going to be awesome. And the interesting thing about that could be us. That could be us playing them.
Third time lucky.
Yeah.
Supporters beat them when
Cowboy.
it counts. That's all.
Yeah, we only need to beat them once this year, and that can be on the first week in October. I'd be happy with that, mate. Storm 26 over Cowboys 20 at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Mate, was a pretty close game. It was a Nick Meaney double in the final 15 minutes that got the Storm home in this one. Your thoughts on this game, mate? Did you get much of that?
Yeah, I did. It was quite an entertaining game to watch. Obviously, the Storm being both sides being really under strength due to state of origin selections there. So it ended up being a pretty even contest, and the Cowboys were right in it. The speed of Jackson Purdue kept them right in it. He scored a try, torched Joe Chan down the edge, and went in for a try right before half time. So it was level, but the Storm just had an extra gear. They still had Jerome Hughes in their side. Like I said, Nick Meaney had a good game as well. So in the second half, they always looked like they were in control, and they sort of had their measure, and they're another side that's going to be really hard to beat. The Cowboys again, it's really hard to get a read on how they're going. They are one of those teams that really struggles when they don't have their big guns playing, and typically during Origin they lose 4 or 5 players. So they're going to need a big finish to the season. The Cowboys, if they're going to do anything this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they've definitely got the cattle to do it. But yeah, the Storm were just way too good on the night.
Again, mate, only 8 teams can fit into the top 8. That's the reality of it too, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly.
Some of these inconsistent teams need to start getting some wins on the board to force their way in there. Sunday, 2 games on Sunday, mate. West Tigers 30 over the Roosters 28. An unlikely win for the Tigers. They ended a run of 6 straight losses. Really entertaining game of footy. The Wahine brothers became the first set of 3 brothers to all score in the same game. What did you think of this game, mate?
Oh, was it Dan Ganane who had the call? It's a Wahine threesome. and then James Graham just looks at him, and everyone's trying not to crack up. He goes, threesome of try scorers. Yeah, look, it's just typical, isn't it, that the team that we play next week all of a sudden comes back into form with a win over the Roosters, albeit once again, Roosters were missing their state of origin players, but the Tigers themselves were depleted somewhat as well, missing Jerome Luai in there on origin duty and Jareen Buller out. But yeah, those guys went up to, and Happy Coruscant, yep, and those guys went up to another level. And yeah, look, I'm always happy for the Tigers to get a win. Just not when the Mike Doreen Cup is up for grabs.
Is coming up. Yeah, that's right.
It was good to see. It's good to see them get a win. It was much needed. I mean, they just get absolutely flogged by the media. Like NRL 360, I reckon if you took away the Tigers, NRL 360 would be struggling for content.
No, because they could talk about Galvin. They'll talk about Galvin.
Right, but it's still linked to the West Tigers.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
True. Yes.
Like they got Richo on for an episode this week as well, which was interesting listen. But I do like what Benji said in the presser after the game. Obviously, he's a man with a lot of pressure on him, and he's copying it from pillar to post as well. But I love what he said about the two guys that left, Galvin and Silver. He said those guys didn't want to be here, so they left. So we want guys that want to be here.
That want to be here.
100% right.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Great win by the Tigers. As you said, it's always good. We always seem to have a soft spot. You and I both have mates that are Tiger supporters. So, it's always good to see the Tigers get a win. And then the final game of the round, the Seagulls 30 over the Rabbits 12 at 4 Points Park. I don't know. Is it me or do the Seagulls seem to be playing at 4 Points Park every weekend? They seem to have had a lot of home games. I don't know. It seems like it. Yeah, it just seems like it. And I went through the draw. I thought, maybe they haven't got any more home. They've still got 3 home games left. So
although there is 9 rounds to go. There's 9 rounds to go. So I guess they got 6. Unless they have more. I don't know how many more buys they've got coming up, but they've still got. So they've got a long slog of away games. We had a bit of a run though when it felt like it had been ages since we played at home at Go Media. I remember the game against the Panthers, and then before that it was the game against the Raiders, which was almost a month, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was
an interesting game, mate. This one, interesting game. Tommy Cyborg legs Trebojevic. He got 2 tries in this one. Brandon Smith made his club debut for Wayne's Rabbits, but didn't turn out the way he wanted. He's now out.
Yeah.
I think. Man, I'll say one thing about the Bunnies. They've had a hectic injury toll this season. They just cannot get their top side on the park, and I think they're now in a fight for the spoon with the Titans. Interesting.
Yeah, they've really slipped out of contention, haven't they? I think when we played them, they were still sort of considered a contender, and I think if Latrell turns up and fires, then they're a different prospect. But
absolutely.
Like they've just had a horrific injury toll, sliding down the ladder, and not looking too good for them.
No. Buys to the Knights, Titans, Panthers, Sharks, Eels, Warriors, and Dolphins. That means the ladder at the moment. The Raiders moved to the top of the table on 30 points. They're 2 points clear of the Storm, who now move into second place, and the Bulldogs, who have dropped to third, but both teams on 28, and the Warriors in fourth on 26. The Warriors are still 4 points clear of the Broncos in fifth on 22, with the Panthers in sixth on 21. And behind them, the Dolphins and Seagulls, both on 20, rounding out the top 8 based on for and against. Then it's the Roosters and Sharks also on 20, the Dragons on 18, Cowboys on 17, Knights, Tigers and Eels on 16, with the Rabbits and Titans, as I said, sharing the wooden spoon on 14 points each. Speaking of the Titans, mate, old Desi, he's going to retire at the end of the year. I'm hearing
that they're coming up with new creative ways of saying that a coach has been asked to move on, haven't they? Like, I mean, he's not he's not anywhere near Wayne's vintage. Wayne's
Yeah.
still going strong. Yeah, it's a bit of a bizarre one. But look, it flat out hasn't worked at the Titans.
No.
We know Des is a good coach. He won a
Has
couple of
it ever
premierships
worked
at
at the
Manly.
Titans? Has it ever worked? Has any coach ever really got success at the Titans?
I would say John Cartwright in their sort of early years, 09, 2010, they made a prelim. He probably got the best out of them then when they had the likes of Scott Prince, Matt Rogers. Who else? They had a lot of
Cello, LaFranchi, guys like that. Were
yeah. They had a good forward pack. Luke Bailey. They had quite a few state of origin players. Like David Mead and these guys back then were try scorers. Kevin Gordon before he went had that music career, should I say, or whatever it is that he's doing now. But yeah, no, he's certainly enjoying what he's doing. But more power to him. But yeah, back then they were a good side. They knocked us out of the finals in 2010, and since then, I mean, they've barely featured in the finals. They scraped in a couple of years. There was that year where Wahine jumped on board. The Wahine plane came in for landing on the Gold Coast and pretty much derailed their season. But there's no doubt Des is a good coach and he's had some really good results. Like, as I was saying, like he's coached Manly to 2 premierships. That was a very good Manly side that he sort of brought through as well. Like a lot of those guys were young guys when he came through. Like
he got
Stewart's
the Bulldogs. He got the Bulldogs to a couple
Bulldogs
of
team twice. Like, so he's got the coaching pedigree. But yeah, look, as you said, it hasn't worked. But when has it ever worked? So
who do they look at? Like, who would take that role on?
I don't know. See, the news I heard was that the Frizzels who own the club are looking at throwing the checkbook at like a marquee coach and doing. I think it was Paul Kent that said that they're looking at doing almost like a hard Control-Alt-Delete reset on the whole club and like just changing everything, changing the jerseys, changing the whole identity, I think, in an effort to try and bring a bit of success to the joint. I don't know. I don't know what they can do. They're in a. It's a bit of a hard one because obviously they're in a location where they should be able to attract players. Because mate, everyone wants to live on the Gold Coast, don't they? Everyone wants to live and get paid to live on the Gold Coast. But is that a hindrance at times as well? People getting caught up in the Gold Coast lifestyle. I don't know. Like they've had good players in their team over the years. They've been able to get.
They've got good players now. Like you look at their
players now. Yeah.
You know, you got Tino in there. You've got David Fafita, who's been he's like an enigma. That bloke. You just don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Jaden Campbell, AJ Brimson. You know, Carl Pereira scored like 54 tries in 53 games.
Keanu Kinney when he's fit. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's another player that's out for the season for them, but it's just interesting. Apparently, David Fafita had an ankle injury that he was playing through, and they rested him based on his obviously performance and injury. He's been named this week. He makes his comeback this week off the bench, but he's openly come out and said that he refused
to play for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
they wanted him to play and he refused, which is it's really weird. There's something going on there. He backflipped on the Godfather at the Roosters, Uncle Nick, and maybe he's paying the price for that now.
Uncle Nick's got a voodoo doll out, you think?
I don't know. Could be anything.
I don't know. I really don't know where the Titans go because it's just been a history of failure, really, with a lot of.
And you can go back further than the Titans. Like you can go back to like the Chargers and the Seagulls.
And the Chargers and the Seagulls. Yeah.
Even the Seagulls could still get big name players. Remember when they signed Brent Todd?
Which incantation of the Gold Coast made the finals in the 90s? Was it?
It was the Gold Coast Chargers made the finals in 1997. And funnily enough, this all ties back to that final Crushers game that I ever went to in 1997. The day Princess Diana died, and the Crushers' last ever game. So Crushers played Western Suburbs that day, and Western Suburbs just had to beat the last place Crushers to make the finals in the place of the Gold Coast Chargers.
Yeah.
But instead, the Crushers, Tooks and the Crushers went out and absolutely pumped them. And it meant that the Gold Coast Chargers made the ARL finals in 1997, and they beat Illawarra with a young Trent Barrett in the first round, and then got knocked out by the Roosters the following week. But it was like the most unlikely of finals appearances. But other than that, they've done nothing. Like they had Wally back in the day, the Gold Coast Seagulls famously. They used to get a lot of the guys that, not Broncos, or guys that would leave the Broncos would then go and play for the Seagulls. So Dale Shearer went there for a number of years. Steve Jackson was there, like the famous Steve Jackson, the Raiders try scorer and then State of Origin player, and Brent Todd. Who could ever forget Toddy's press conference?
Yeah, you couldn't get away with that now, could you?
No way. Google it if you want to see what signing press conferences were like back in the day. Google Brent Todd Gold Coast.
Where I remember that was a big call when Wally went there because Wayne Bennett sacked him,
famously axed him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And was Wally captain coach the first year? Is it?
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly was. Which was, a little bit like you don't really see that anymore. But yeah, he was. He was captain coach. And he still played. I think he still played. He played his final State of Origin series when he was still at the Gold Coast Seagulls. Wayne Bartram came through there. Campo, our good mate Campo played at the Gold Coast Seagulls.
Campo, yep, he did too.
But they were based in Tweed Heads. For those people who don't know, when the Gold Coast, or the Tweed Coast Giants, as they were first known, and the Broncos got their licenses to join the New South Wales Rugby League, as it was back then, they only issued one license for a team to be based in Queensland. So the Broncos obviously got that license in Brisbane. So they planned to introduce a Gold Coast team, but they couldn't actually be based in Queensland. So that's why their stadium was just over the border in Tweed Heads, and they were still that's why they were originally the Tweed Coast Giants, I think, and then they were then they became the Seagulls after a couple of years, and so that where the Seagulls. If you guys know where the Seagulls Leagues Club or whatever is at Tweed Heads there, the stadium used to be just in front of it, but now it's like a housing estate. They knocked it down about 30 years ago now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There you go. There's a bit of a history of the Gold Coast, even though you didn't even ask.
Wow. Mate, where am I going? Okay. I'll just do a quick recap of the NRLW Round 1, mate, and then if Pricey's not in, we'll start previewing the Tigers game for this weekend for the NRL. NRLW Round 1 Thursday night, the Eels 18 over the Sharks 16. That was a big win for the Eels because I don't know if anyone remembers last year, Sharks were the runners-up in the NRLW Grand Final last season against the Roosters. So that was a big win for the Eels. Friday night, the Bulldogs, the other new side into the comp, the Bulldogs 26 over the Knights 12. Inaugural win for the NRLW newcomers. Tamika Upton, obviously a huge loss for the Knights. They certainly looked like they lacked a lot of energy and direction. Bulldogs played really, really great. Saturday, the Broncos 28 over the Tigers 4. The return of Tamika Upton to the Broncos was great for them. Tigers, pretty much a full rebuild for them, with only 5 players remaining from their 2024 squad. So it's almost like a new side coming into the competition. And they look like they'll struggle a bit this year, the Tigers. We had the Dragons 36 over the Raiders 14. Indy Bostock, sister of Jack Bostock, Dolphins winger. She made a debut on the wing for the Dragons. Outstanding. She got a try double. Tegan Berry, she got a try. She takes a tally to 30 NRLW tries. She's the first player to hit that mark. Maddie Bartlett, 3 behind her on 27. And interestingly enough, the Raiders now haven't won a home game in 7 games, going back to the 2023 season. Was the last time the Raiders women won at home. Yeah. So that was an interesting stat from that weekend, because that's a hard place to go and play footy. It's a hard place to go and watch. So you can imagine it's a hard place to go and play footy.
Especially in the middle of winter.
Exactly right. We had the Cowboys 20 over the Titans 6. Jamie Chapman at fullback for the Titans really didn't get involved enough in that role. Great performance from the Cowboys. They've got a really great balanced squad across the park, and they're going to trouble a lot of teams this year. The Titans, I don't know, they look like they're missing something. They really do. Sunday was the Roosters 30 over the Warriors 6, and we kind of spoke about that before. Roosters were just too good. Star-studded lineup. I think they've got something like 7 Origin players and 7 Gillaroos up against a team with 10 NRLW debutants. It was always going to be a tough ask for our Warriors women, but as I said, they'll be better for the run, and we'll be looking to improve as the season goes on. How are we looking, mate? Any word from Pricey yet?
Unfortunately not. For those of you who just joined us expecting to see us chat to Steve Price, we had hoped to get him on, and he was ready to come on, but he is, as we said before, travelling through outback Queensland, and he is most likely out of reception at the moment. So we're just waiting to see if he'll jump on, and when he does, we'll add him to the chat. If not, we'll never get him on. We'll get him on another time. Because he's a good mate of ours, so I'm sure he'll be keen to come on and have a chat. Yeah,
absolutely, mate. Let's preview our round 19 game against the Tigers. It's a very important game for a number of reasons, but none more so than for the Mike Doreen Cup.
Silverware up for grabs as always when we play the Tigers. The Mike Doreen Cup, honouring the first ever player to play for both the Warriors and the Tigers. That was Warrior number 25, Mike Doreen. Played 4 games for the Warriors and a handful of games for the Sydney Tigers in 1996.
4 games for the Warriors, 4 games for the Tigers, and 2 for the Hunter Mariners.
There you go. So, this is honour of the great Mike Doreen. And every year since Ruin Hammer has started, the Mike Doreen Cup has been up for grabs. And we're pleased to announce that we've held it the whole time. And let's just hope that we do not relinquish it this weekend, because we do take on the Tigers, as you said, back at Go Media Stadium. So
that's a good win streak, isn't it? Because that's 2020. 2020.
Yeah, so we haven't lost to them since round 3, 2019, the famous match where you became a meme. When you were spotted in the crowd, and it turned into that look you get when Carter is named in the team, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
But we have not lost the Tigers since that day. So we're undefeated.
50-point loss in the rain. That was.
Yeah, mate, there's been a few of them. That was out of Campbelltown, wasn't it? There's been some horrendous losses out there. We did beat them there for the year.
I've never seen us win at Campbelltown, and I remember we beat them this year in Campbelltown. I didn't go, and there was a game. Was it 2023 or 2022, Rob, where we played them in Campbelltown, and it was the game where we ended up with only 11 players on the field, and the Tigers still couldn't beat us.
Yeah. So early rounds of 2022, it's one of the worst games I've ever seen, and I think we just happened to be slightly less crap than the Tigers that day, and we ended up winning 16-12 in a horrendous game. Looks like Ted has a bit of inside knowledge about MD25, Mike Doreen, good Christchurch boy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do know that he was a bit of a local legend in the. He had some really great form in the Buttercup Cup or whatever it is there. I know. Like guys like Will Evans and that speak really highly of him. and I think that's what got him a contract at the Warriors, and he actually even made the Kiwis tour team to Papua New Guinea the year before in 1994. There's actually a really good doco on YouTube, I think it is, about that tour that shows Mike Doreen, MD25, coming in as a replacement player with his scintillating flat top. So we believe he's working as a plasterer locally back in Christchurch. So if anyone has any connections,
filling gaps in the wall like he did in the defensive line, mate.
Yeah, plugging gaps since. If anyone has any connections to Mike, we would love to have a chat with him. We'd love to get him on as a guest sometime.
We would.
So, let us know.
Yeah. The great Mike Doreen. I watched the doco the other night I was just flicking through YouTube, and there was a doco that came on, and it was about the Warriors' inception in '95.
Yep.
And awesome documentary. Dean Bell speaking on that. But there was I sent you a photo at the end. There was a picture of Mike Doreen in a team photo.
He's a mean looking customer. I remember his I think it was his first grade debut where he scored that try against Cronulla, and he had the goatee. He had the Shibasaki goatee before it was fashionable. And mean looking man there in the centres. So hook us up if anyone knows him. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's get into this round, mate. Back home at Go Media Stadium, Tanner Boyd gets the nod to play halfback and become Warrior number 293 this weekend in the absence of Luke Metcalf. And, Tanner's got the job now to guide this team to the semi-finals at the end of the year. Have you got the team list there, mate, that we can go through?
Yeah, mate, I certainly do. The team that we've been named, we were expecting some changes, and we got them. At fullback, Wahine Toa returns to first grade. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak returning ahead of schedule to take his place on the wing, alongside Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the other wing. Centres, Adam Pompey and Rocco Berry. And the halves, Chanel Harris-Tavita, and as we said, Tanner Boyd coming in at number 7. James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, and Jacko Ford named to start in the front row, with Leka Halasima and Murata Niokore in the back row and Aaron Clark at lock. Interchange, Temare Martin, Jacob Laban, Demetric Vaimunga, Tanner Stowers-Smith. And on the extended bench, Eddie Iramia Toiava, Sam Healy, Bunty Afoa, Ed Cossie, and Kurt Capewell, although there has been a report come out today that he will be rested this week, so he probably not expecting him to play on Sunday.
Yeah, Webby came out and said that there's been enough players backing up from Origin getting injuries this year, and they don't want to risk Kurt. So they'll go with the squad that they've named. Interestingly, mate, there was a lot of talk going around at the beginning of the week that with Tanner Boyd now getting the nod to play halfback for the Warriors, all 4 halfbacks of the top 4 sides this season are players that the Titans let go. Toby Sexton, Jamal Fogarty, Tanner Boyd, and Jerome Hughes. Interesting.
Yeah, so we were asking before what's gone wrong with the Titans. Maybe that just answers it.
Could do. Mate, what are your thoughts on the team? Tanner Boyd, really not a surprise. We had this conversation last week, didn't we? We spoke about Tamati Martin and so forth. But Webby was so glowing of his assessment of Tamati Martin playing 14 for us and being able to fill a number of roles that kind of put the writing on the wall that he wasn't going to get the nod as our number 7 moving forward. But quite happy for him to be able to fill. I mean, in the last game, he played hooker, fullback, and halfback at different stages in that game due to injuries and what have you. So, very interesting.
Yeah. Don't forget Aaron Clark as well when you're talking about ex-Titans. But
it's just the 4 halfbacks of the 4 teams leading the comp. That's a massive thing, isn't it?
Amazing. Yeah, but speaking of one of those halfbacks, I was excited to see him named. It's been a long time coming. He was a signing of note in the off season, and everyone was kind of wondering when he was going to get his opportunity. But in a weird kind of way, we're almost kind of hoping that he wouldn't, because that would have meant that there would have been an injury to one of our key halves. But it is what it is. Metcalf out with the season-ending ACL, so he gets his opportunity. He's been killing it in Cup. The day that we watched him live against the Rabbitohs at Redfern Oval, he had a fantastic game. He's a completely different player to Metcalf. Doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the flashy sort of individual brilliance, I would say, but he's more of your classic organising half. He's got a fantastic kicking game. He's like an 85% goal kicker, which is definitely a plus. And we know he can kick a field goal because he's kicked them against us before. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the team. Look, I wouldn't say there's always pressure, but he's come from a winning system in the New South Wales Cup, and they've only lost one game all year. And as we know, Webby is very big on the next man up, and he is the next man up. He's an out and out halfback, so he's replacing halfback with a halfback. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings, like the organisation, as I said, and the kicking game. So I think he'll do well, and I'm really glad to see Tane named at fullback.
I was just going to say, mate. I came out 2 weeks ago or last week, I think it might have been, and I said that I felt Roger was probably our best choice to go back there and maybe Tane on the wing, but I'm not against Tane playing in the position that he's supposed to be playing, like that he was brought to the club for.
Yes.
Yeah, so the only concern I have for Tane is the height under contested high balls, but I think at fullback he'll have to deal with that less than he would if he was on the wing. If he was on the wing, they'd just pepper him against Skelton or Charlie Staines, whoever's playing on that wing. Great to see Tane come back into first grade. He's been when he's been in the first grade squad, he's been one of our most consistent players every game that he plays, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has. I'm no secret. I'm a huge fan of him. He brings a lot of X factor. Again, when we watched him play at Redfern, him, Boyd, and Sam Healy were head and shoulders above the rest in that team. They were just carving up. Tane was carving up through the middle, and we know he's got all the skills and attributes that we think would make him a good candidate as a half. He's got a good passing game. He's got speed. He's got footwork. He always beats first tackle, and what do we call him? The half break king. He looks like he almost breaks the line almost every time, if that's even like such a thing. But he also has a very good kicking game. In the past he has been a general play kicker for them for the side, and he's also a good goal kicker.
I'll tell you what, if you can get on YouTube and look up his highlight package from, I remember when the Warriors signed him, we'd never heard of him, and we got on and had a look at his highlight package, and mate, he has some speed. He's one of those players that I just really want to see him in open field, because we haven't had that opportunity to see him in open field.
Not at all,
playing for the Warriors. He's got some out and out speed about him, which makes him, he's a different fullback to Chance. You're not going to get 300 or 280.
You're not going to get the meter.
No. Yeah. What you'll get is a good backup game. He'll sniff around his forwards around the middle of the park. He'll be great in that link role. He's got a better passing game than Chance. Chance is just all heart. Yeah. All heart. So maybe our game plan. Maybe our game plan has to be a little bit different moving forward, with Tane at fullback and Tanner at half, because we were speaking off camera before we came on tonight about where are our points going to come from in this one, mate. Because Metcalf was one of those players that he was good for a try, he was good for some individual brilliance and get some points for us, and create something out of nothing. And I said to you that maybe we need to go. Last week he scored a lot of tries from kicks. With Dallin on the wing, Pompey's a big man under the high ball. Leka Halasima has proven that he can. I would much rather see us this week contest every kick we put in and not get the ball, but put ourselves in the contest for it, rather than just kick for the sake of kicking and no one contests those balls, and we don't even put ourselves in that contest. And I think that could be a major difference for us this week if we just start contesting some of these kicks that we send through on fourth and fifth tackle.
Yes, yeah, I think so. We need a bit of extra threat out there, and maybe more of the playmaking can sort of go back to Egan around the ruck, and we can start utilizing his speed and creativity there. And again, though, like as we just mentioned, Tane is another playmaking option as well on that back line. To get him to chime in there, and he can produce. Maybe it's him that will produce a bit of individual brilliance through speed and creativity as well. So, like the one thing that we really lack is a strike centre, and like with all due respect to Pompey and Berry, they do their job, but they're solid rather than spectacular. So, we have a little bit of like our back row is a little bit more dynamic, particularly with Halasima in there, and Niokore can run a good line as well. So, maybe we need to utilise that a little bit more as well. But look, I like the look of the side. The only thing that concerns me is that with two players in key positions, we know Tane has been there this year, but with Boyd coming in, it is a bit of a big ask to step up, but he is an experienced first grader. He has played 60 or 70 games, I think, for the Titans, so he knows what he's in for. And I think, with all due respect to the Tigers, I'm glad that we're playing them rather than like a Melbourne Storm or Bulldogs or someone this week. I would say ease into it, but I don't think this is going to be an easy game because there are no easy games in the NRL, and that was case in point when we lost to the Panthers, missing all their Origin players. And it's going to be a bit of ordinary weather.
Tigers looked good last week.
They did. They certainly did.
As you said, they had no Luai, they had no Coruscant, who are both back this week. Still no Jareen Buller. But they look good. Latu Fonu has been outstanding for them since he's come in, now that Lachlan Galvin's gone. And they just look really settled. They look really settled on the weekend.
Seyfarth worries me as well.
I was going to say,
he really worries me.
Yeah. Alex Seyfarth has been playing good footy. Terrell May is one of those players that he just likes to go out and win that contest against his opposite. He's coming up against, the alpha dog in James Fisher-Harris. He'll want to get one over him. A lot of Kiwis in the Tigers side. Yep. A lot of Kiwis in the Tigers side. We know these young kids like going home and playing well in front of their families.
They certainly do. Yeah, they've always got a lot of Polynesian players in their side, and they've always got extended family in Auckland that will come out and donning the black and orange, and they've always been a bit of a popular side in NZ because of the Benji Marshall factor and a few other sort of prominent Kiwi players that played there. So, mate, this is going to be far from a walk in the park, but it is such a crucial game after 2 losses and 2 byes. We really need to get back into the winners' circle because that performance against Cronulla seems like an eternity ago now, and that was our last win.
Yes.
So yeah, we really need to get our act together. And look, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's going to be a very, 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 very close convincing 4-point win.
Oh, okay. You're right though, mate. Like that win against the Sharks seems so long ago. We've had 2 byes and 2 losses since then. We get back home at Go Media Stadium. It's a sellout crowd. They're saying
bit of rain, as Ted has said.
Which evens it up a little bit. Look, I said a couple of weeks ago that we've got 9 games to go till the finals, and our next 3 games are crucial because they're all against teams that are pretty much in the bottom 3 or 4 sides in the comp. We got the Tigers this week, then we follow that up with the Knights, and then we play the Titans at the Gold Coast. Back in New Zealand.
Games that we should be winning, games that we should be banking, and like if we want to hold aspirations for being a top 4 side, these are games we really have to win. Really have to.
Yeah. I'm going to go with you. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect. I think we get away with a win, but I'm more confident than you. I'm going to say an 8-point victory. But it'll be one of those games where I think the Tigers will try to be. I think we'll jump out to a lead, and the Tigers will start to try and reel us in.
Yeah.
But being a team that just is not used to winning, they just won't be able to get that nail in the coffin, and
they'll struggle to get that knockout blow. Hopefully.
Yeah. But let's be honest, mate. We haven't got a great record at home this year either. We've lost a couple of.
Lost our last two at home. Especially the last one was just, kind of left a bit of taste in everyone's mouth. I think that Panthers game.
Yeah, Panthers, and then I think before that was the Raiders, wasn't it? That we lost.
Raiders, yeah. That spiteful clash.
There you go. So we've both picked a close Warriors victory for our round 19. Round 2 for the NRLW sees the Warriors playing the Eels. It's a curtain raiser for the main game, and I'm really hoping that because it is a sellout crowd, I have heard Michaela Brake talking this week about the crowd, and I really do hope that the crowd gets out there and supports the girls and welcomes them back into the NRLW fold. If you've got tickets for this game, then get out there early and show the girls some love. I don't think you got the team list there, have you, mate? But same team.
I can get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just quickly go through it. But it was the same team, same 17 that was picked last week, which will be great for these girls to start to form some combinations and get a little bit of confidence about their game.
Yeah, I've just got the team coming up now. Just bear with me. Okay, there's one change to face the Eels. We've got RP Nichols, Michaela Brake, Tasha Ikanasio, Emantina Paki, Peyton Takimoana, Patricia Maliepo, and Emily Curtin in the back line. Forwards, Harada Butler, Capri Peku, Lavinia Katai. The front row, second row, Shakira Baker, Kaya Atai, Laishan Albert Jones at lock. On the bench, Lydia Tuara Kedley, Maari Pukitapu, Ashley Matapo, and Matakino Gray. Yeah, and extended bench, Makali Eli, Avery Rose Carmont, Ivania Lauatiti, Tyler Watere, and Metanoia Fotumoala.
Yeah, like I said, mate, I was really impressed with Shakira Baker on the weekend in the back row, and I think Maliapu at 5'8" was outstanding as well. So yeah, these are girls that we, hopefully the crowd can start knowing these girls' names, and the signs are always good at Mount Smart Stadium, and hopefully they've got some signs out for the girls as well.
Yeah.
Good win by the Eels last week. Tough win over the Sharks. Rachel Pearson playing hard for the Eels is always going to be hard. Her kicking game is very, very good. Eels, great forward pack. Elsie Albert playing front row, a stalwart of NRLW. I'm going to pick a Warriors victory. I didn't pick a Warriors victory last week. I thought the Roosters would get us, but I'm going to pick a 2-point victory for the Warriors. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a lot of points. I think it'll be like 12-10.
Yep. Yeah. I'll stick with the girls. I'll pick them to get their first win back at home as well. Yeah, I'll go a very, very nervous 4-point victory. I'll keep it consistent.
Let's have a look at all the other games for this round 19 of the NRL and round 2 of the NRLW. Friday night, the Sharks play the Dolphins at Shark Park. There's another team that seems to have a lot of home games. They always seem to be at Shark Park. And I don't know. I probably understand that because it only holds about 10,000 people, and they're lucky to get 5. Mate, the big difference here in this game is ex-Warrior Sean O'Sullivan comes in for the injured Herdy Nikorima in the Dolphins backline, and I think that's going to be the telling blow. I think the Sharks will get away with this one because Nikorima has been so good for the Dolphins over the last couple of weeks. I think the Sharks
sniper, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. He did. I think the Sharks will get the win in this one. Your thoughts?
Look, it's just hard. Like it's a tough one because Dolphins have been scoring all those points, but two of the key men in that point scoring spread, like Nicarima and Jack Bostock, are out. So
Yeah.
I think that evens out the playing field a little bit. But I think the Dolphins will be too good. I think they'll get away with this one.
I hope they do. I'm a massive fan of Herbie Farnworth. I think Herbie Farnworth is probably the best centre in the NRL.
You want Herbie to go bananas?
I want Herbie to go bananas because I always have him in a try-scoring multi. So yes,
Herbie goes to Monte Carlo or whatever it was. Yep.
Yes. Saturday night, the Knights versus Storm up at McDonald Jones Stadium. There's another team that has a lot of home.
They do. They're going to have 2 in a row again because they're playing us there next week. You got to check out how this draw came together. Hey,
who made it? Ashley Klein. Ashley
Klein.
Ponga and Sharp are huge losses for the Knights. For the Storm, Grant Liero on the extended bench could be late call-ins. Cameron Munster is a definite out for this week. Coach Craig Bellamy has said that he will allow him to go and spend some time with his family after the passing of his father.
Well deserved. Yeah, absolutely.
I think
after starring last night,
I think the Storm just win this and win it easy, mate.
Yeah, I expect the Storm in a bit of a canter for sure.
Yeah. Dragons versus Roosters. The big one here is Sam Walker returning for the Roosters in this game, partnering the halves with Hugo Savala. Dragons a team with a little bit of hurt at the moment. Can't get away from that argument about their halves pairing.
Daddy Gate, yeah.
I think the Roosters will bounce back after a loss to the unexpected loss to the Tigers. I pick the Roosters. Roosters by 8.
Yeah, I think the Roosters will be too good as well. I think Walker might be the missing piece. I expect them to make a bit of a push, but definitely top 8, possibly top 4.
Yep. Cowboys versus Bulldogs. Cowboys have named all their Origin players. Bulldogs. We spoke about them before. Sexton at halfback. Galvin named on the bench. I don't see the point in the whole Galvin on the bench thing. I would love to see the Cowboys topple the Bulldogs. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bulldogs will be too strong.
I disagree. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I think they're a different beast at home. Toddy will have them fired up, and they always seem to play well against the Bulldogs. I remember them beating them at home last year as well, around about this time of the year. And I think it might be a bit of a high point scoring game, but I think the Cowboys can win that one.
Okay. Go against me then, mate. Just show me up. Sunday, the Warriors versus Tigers. We've spoken about that. We're both going to be very nervously watching that game. 3 games this Sunday because of the Origin game during the week. The Eels versus Panthers is the second game. Talon De Silva to make his Eels debut. Penrith Origin stars all named on the extended bench. I expect that most of them will play, except for Liam Martin. I think he's carrying an injury. I really think Nathan will want to play. I don't think he'll be happy with the performance he put in last night. And we haven't spoken about Origin yet. We'll get to that. We'll save that for Pricey, but he hasn't jumped in yet.
I'm not sure whether we'll be able to get him tonight. I think he's a little bit held up, but we'll give him till the 11th hour.
Yes, mate. I'm picking Penrith in this game against the Eels.
Yes, I think Penrith are back. Like the Broncos are back. Everyone's suddenly back. I think that the disappointment of Origin will spur on Nathan Cleary because he took that really hard, especially in his post-match interview there on Channel 9. So I expect them to be way too good for the Eels and continue their march up the table.
Absolutely. And the last game is the Titans versus the Broncos. What do they call that? Big Brother versus Little Brother, or the Battle of Southeast Queensland, or whatever.
Southeast, the M1 derby, as they call it. The M1.
Is that what it is?
Apparently, something like that.
Okay. For this one, mate, David Fafita's named on the bench for the Broncos, and Ben Hunt named to come back from injury. He's going to play hooker in this. David Fafita for the Titans, Ben Hunt for the Broncos. Mate, I think this will be that spine that Brisbane will want with Reece Walsh, Mam, Reynolds, and Ben Hunt. I think this is where they're going to kick into gear. The Broncos are now going to go on a serious run, and I think they'll put the Titans to the sword.
This is the second time they've played them in about a month. Broncos or Titans. Well, Titans got their run going the other team that they sort of clicked into gear with when they wore that black jersey. So, look, I'm expecting that the Broncos will absolutely go out and slaughter them. I think it could get nasty for Desi and his boys there.
Could be. Sea Eagles, Rabbits, and Raiders all have to play. So the Raiders will definitely stay on top of the table. They'll still kick 2 points clear, regardless of what happens with Melbourne and Canterbury. Rabbits, they desperately need that 2 points, and so do the Sea Eagles. NRLW Round 2 kicks off in about 10 minutes. The Tigers versus the Bulldogs. Mate, I think this is going to be a massive win for the Bulldogs.
Yes. Oh, I can't see anything but a Bulldogs win. They were very impressive. And Tigers, as you said, struggling in especially their NRLW team. So big win for the Bulldogs, I think.
Saturday, 3 games on Saturday. Raiders versus Sharks. If the Raiders are at home at Geo Stadium, they need a win. I don't think they'll. Actually, I'm going to pick it. I'm going to pick the Raiders to beat the Sharks.
Yeah. Look, I'll go the Sharks. I think they'll be stung by that result last week, so I expect them to sort of get back on track. And you said it, the Raiders do not have a good record at home, so
no.
So there you go.
Dragons versus the Roosters. Dragons this year have acquired a really strong squad. I really like what the Dragons are doing. I think they're going to take it to the Roosters this week, and I'm going to pick the Dragons in an upset.
Yeah, wow, the 2 heavyweights. We watched them play a grand final a few years ago.
We did indeed.
Yes, at Fortress Redcliffe. Look, I'll stick with the Roosters. I think they're a very solid side. So I expect them to get the chocolates.
Cowboys versus Knights. I'm going to pick the Cowboys, mate. I think the Cowboys will do it 13+ quite easily.
Yeah, after that impressive win last week, I think the Cowboys will be too good. Yeah.
Sunday, Warriors versus Eels. We've both picked a close Warriors win. And then the last game of the round is the Titans versus the Broncos. I really think the Broncos NRLW side is going to be a hard team to beat this year. The Titans just look like they're missing something. I don't know what it is about the Titans, but they're just missing something. They've lost Ivania Polite and Shannon Martol both to pregnancies.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Broncos in this one, mate.
Yeah, Broncos. Yeah, definitely.
And I just want to do a couple of Warrior Nation updates on behalf of our great mate, the Godfather Richie Morgan. Those of us that are based in Australia know that Richie has done a lot of work in the background to organise some pre-game meetups for any of the games in Australia. Next weekend, the Warriors take on the Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium. There is going to be a pre-game event. My good mate, Rob's going to be coming down from Queensland for that one. He's never been to McDonald Jones, so really looking forward to that. There's been a lot of chatter in the Warrior Nation Knights chat group with the usual suspects, Aaron and Michael flying in from New Zealand. Troy's coming down from Queensland. So really looking forward to catching up with all the boys. So that's next week at West Leagues Club at Newcastle. When we play the Bulldogs at the Core Stadium, it's going to be a double header with our Warriors women. We're looking to take over a Core Stadium. So the pre-game will actually be in the general admission away supporters section of a Core Stadium. We're going to try and get as many fans there early to take over that section of the grandstand. Expecting 60,000 people to that game, so it's going to be
big
massive.
One. Yeah, it's going to be
absolutely
huge.
And then Titans at Seabus Stadium. I'll be coming up for that, as I do every year. We've got a pre-game event happening at the Sporting Globe at Robina, and then there'll be the march to the stadium. The Titans game is always a great game, a great support for the Warriors.
It
and
is.
Richie
You
really cashed in on it. Yep, on how great a venue the Sporting Globe is, and they've always been great to us over the past 3 or 4 seasons. We've been doing a pre-game event at the Sporting Globe. So really looking forward to that. And then the final round of the season, Manly at Four Pines Park. We've got a area at the Brookvale Hotel. But all these events on the Warrior Nation events page. Just go to the Warrior Nation Facebook page, click on the events. You'll see the events. Click the interested or going to bring up all the details. But there, like I said, next weekend for all the Warrior Nation Australian fans, Knights versus the Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium. We're going to be at the West Leagues Club up there in Newcastle. No Pricey, mate, not joining.
No Pricey, I'm afraid. So yeah, just apologies for that. We had tried to get him in, but as we said, he is travelling in outback Queensland. I think he's travelling around for the QRL, and he had hoped to jump on, but obviously hasn't been able to. So we'll arrange with him, and we'll try and get him on in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just to talk about Origin. But yeah, those of you, in case you were living under a rock, would know that Queensland wrapped up the State of Origin series last night with a convincing 24-12 win over the New South Wales team. It's a bit of a weird time of year for us, isn't it? Obviously, the only time that we're on different sides, you being based in Sydney, me being based in Queensland. And it's always great to see Queensland get the win, and especially I think everything that Cam Munster has been through this week really spurred on the boys, and they produced a stirring first half, and it was proved to be too much again. And yeah, we'll probably have a more extensive chat about that later when we do actually get Pricey on. But yeah, Laurie Daly,
mate,
thoughts on the Blues coach,
mate. I'm a Warriors fan through and through, and I'm a Kiwis fan through and through, and I do live in New South Wales, and I do support New South Wales in Origin, but not to the point where I actually give a shit if we, get done in a set. It's not something that I, put my head in the pillow and cry myself to sleep over.
Yeah.
However,
exactly,
I do much prefer to see New South Wales win over Queensland, and I was not vocal, but I was against the signing of Laurie Daly as coach. He did nothing last time he was coach, and to bring him back again. I think the New South Wales selectors thought they were vindicated when he won that first game up at Suncorp. And look, Billy Slater, I mean, there was a lot of bullshit that came out before Origin too. And Billy Slater, mate, joining us, mate. Always great to see you in the group, mate. And yeah, you have a good weekend too, mate, up the was. It was great to see Billy make the call to drop Daly Cherry Evans. And that was a massive call after that round 1 loss, or Origin 1 loss. And he came under a little bit of scrutiny and criticism by, different people in the media. But, mate, it turned out being the call of the series because, I mean, the guy that they brought in, Tom Dearden, he was player of the season. Player of the series.
Outstanding last night. He was involved in everything. 2 tries, involved in defence, crucial tackles. Yeah.
Look, we spoke about it today, and as I said to you, the main difference between Queensland and New South Wales is Queensland get Origin, and Queensland pick. They don't care about people's reputations or anything like that. They pick on form. And, they picked Cherry Evans because he was the incumbent captain. He was not he hasn't been playing in good form all season. They gave him his opportunity. He didn't come through for him. They were willing to bite the bullet and bring somebody else in. But then you look at a guy like Shibasaki or Robert Toya. If they were New South Welshmen, they would never get a look in. Yet, if Queensland picked like New South Wales picked, then guys like Dane Gagai would have been in the centres for Queensland in this series, based on. And that's the thing that New South Wales do that Queensland don't do, is they pick guys based on reputation. Look, I don't know. I'm not surprised. I think Queensland just get Origin better than New South Wales. And, now guys like Nathan Cleary are going to come under a lot of criticism because a guy like Shibasaki, Corey Allen, Brenko Lee, they've all won Origin deciders, and Paul Nathan hasn't. So yeah, I don't know, mate. Look, I'm not blaming Nathan Cleary for the loss, but it was showing that our forward pack was dominated in game 2, and Laurie Daly chose not to make any changes. He kept with Stefano, he kept with Max King. Yet a guy like Terrell May's been outstanding all year. And if Terrell May was a Queenslander, and if Keon Kolomatangi was a Queenslander, those guys would have been picked in the Queensland squad, because they pick on form.
Absolutely.
They pick on guys playing in form. New South Wales need to. The interesting thing for Daly is he signed a 2-year contract, but for me, he's not the best man for the job. I don't know who is. Maybe we should do a swap. Maybe Desi becomes the New South Wales coach and Daly goes and coaches.
He unretires. He unretires straight away. He goes into the Blues coach. Yeah. Yeah,
and Laurie Daly can go and coach the Titans.
Oh, can you imagine that? Would he last the season?
No. That'd be
his first signings would be Josh Dugan and Blake Ferguson to play his back line.
I don't know, mate. Great series. I must actually say I only caught about 20 minutes of the Origin last night. As I said at the beginning of the show, we had some stuff happening last night where a work colleague was injured, and thoughts and prayers go out to his family. Not doing too well, but that was kind of consuming myself and a couple of other guys at work during the night in our roles as managers. So I didn't get to watch a lot of the Origin, and I did plan to watch the highlights package tonight when I got home, and didn't get around to doing that either. I do believe that Queensland jumped out to a 20-0 lead at halftime.
20-0, very dominant first half, like almost 100% completion. And this time sort of went on with the job. I think it was crucial. New South Wales had come out and scored an early try in the second half. It might have been different. Like we know that New South Wales, can score quick points, but there was favourable conditions last night. Queensland's scrambling defence was outstanding and just kept turning away the Blues, and they started making a few mistakes. We held on, and then when we got our opportunity up the other end, because the possession completely swung and the Blues had a lot of possession in that second half, and when we did get our opportunity, we iced the game with a Tommy Did and try slicing through, and that was all she wrote, and that was enough to get the series win. So congratulations to all the everyone involved in the Queensland team and Billy Slater, who's had a tumultuous series in terms of what went on off the field. Yeah.
As a fan of rugby league, first and foremost, I'm glad that the week had a happy ending for a guy like Cam Munster. That hits hard. His dad, Cam Munster's dad, was 2 years older than I am. 58 years old, passed away, over the weekend, and that's kind of a sobering thought. To see Cam play a role in that, lead his state and play a role in that, that's something he'll always remember, and it'd be awful to associate his dad's death with a bad performance for Queensland, or losing first series as captain of Queensland. So congratulations to him.
He's always going to galvanise him and the team. I felt, and I think a lot of people said the same thing. Like as soon as they heard the news, like it's just got to be a Queensland win.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, it's obviously it's something if we can get Pricey on a day next week, we can. If we can schedule it, then we can do 2 shows next week and do a show just with Pricey. Because for those of you who have joined tonight, looking forward to seeing him. I don't know if anyone you can go back into our video live, which is on
YouTube channel,
YouTube. Or you can actually go onto our link tree and find it direct and just click on the link and it'll take you straight to the thing. We had Pricey on. It was almost 4 years ago today. It was the 6th of July, 4 years ago. 2021. We had Pricey on. It is the longest live stream we've ever done. 3 hours that Pricey was on talking, and in that 3 hours we didn't actually ask a lot of questions. He does
love
amazing
chat. Though. It was amazing. It was just to sit there and listen to his yarns. It was fantastic, and we're really looking forward to having a chat to him again whenever we can get him on. Whenever he's not traveling on the road. So we'll do our best to get him on next week sometime. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and we're really happy that we got Michael Witt on a couple of weeks ago, and we're actually looking to revisit some of our great mates, ex-Warriors players, guys like Campo and Tukes. We're looking forward to getting them on again as the season goes on for a bit of a chat as well. Because, as you said, when we first started this journey as Ruin Hammer, one of the things that became really unique for us was because the Warriors were based here in Australia, there was a lot of people that were interested in the Warriors, and we actually reached out and got in touch with a lot of ex-Warriors players. And I think if you go back through our catalogue, there's something like 30 or 35 ex-players from the Warriors that we've had on the channel to have a chat to. But we haven't been able to do that for a couple of seasons now. So some of those chats are, a couple of years old. So it'd be great to get some of these guys on and just revisit some of the things and, maybe have a bit of more of an condensed chat with them. But yeah, it's one of the things that we always love doing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's something that I always pinch myself when I'm chatting to these guys that I grew up watching and idolizing, playing for the Warriors. And it's, just that, particularly when we had Pricey on, that was a surreal moment. I was just literally pinching myself. And like Stacey Jones and Ivan Cleary and Campo and Tukes and all these guys are legends of the club. So, we do our best. And unfortunately, that is a bit of the downside of doing a live show is like sometimes it doesn't always work out. So, but we promise you that we will do our very best to get Pricey on again whenever we can do that. Yeah.
Mate, do you want to wrap up with a little bit of housekeeping?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of ex-Warriors and Michael Witt, we mentioned him. Make sure you go check out Vital Man. Fantastic range of men's health products. Get all your needs there. Meal replacement shakes and male enhancement energizer vital shake. Make sure you get that. Go and check out what he's got. Use the code RU and Hammer and you will get 20% off your order. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Thank you to all you guys who do support us on Patreon. If you do want to support us, the link is on the screen there. You jump on there, and for as little as $3 a month, you can support us in what we do here in Ruin Hammer. It's greatly appreciated, and everything goes back into the show and so all the costs involved with bringing you the product that we do every week. If merchandise is your thing, however, make sure you jump onto our Redbubble store, and that's Redbubble. Make sure you go through our shop and have a look at some of the t-shirts we've got available. We've got a Luke Metcalf shirt. We've got an Aaron Clark shirt, James Fisher Harris. We've got a Leka Halasima. We've got everything you want. Any shirts you want, just let us know. We can get some designs done for you. So check it out. And once again, all that portion of all the sales comes back to us to go back into the show. So we greatly appreciate you guys for supporting us in that way as well.
Absolutely, we do. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We do apologise because we had promised that Price would be on, but we will get him on when he is next available. So keep your eye out for our social media posts. We'll let everyone know when he's on. Thank you, everyone, for contributing to the chat. We do appreciate it. For everyone who's going out to the game, get out there early, support the girls.
That's it.
Up the Wahs, up the Wahine Toas, and let's keep our hand on the Mike Doreen Cup.
Yeah, let's
Thanks,
keep
everyone.
that trophy cabinet filled. All right, thanks, guys. Take care.